Karen Rand here at the Montreal Children's Hospital. We are at the PK Subban Atrium trying to raise money, of course. Today it is Radiothon Day, and we are in the midst of another hour here for the 10 Equip Foundation, trying to get to another 197 hugs. We'll be here until 7 o'clock tonight, and every time you hear a bell go off or applause or cheering, that's because someone else made a phone call to our Dormez-vous phone bank, where our operators, of course, have been all day long today. So if you haven't already made the call, you want to do that now. 514-939-KIDS or 514-939-5437. And I will just point out Margie Cohen. Margie, thank you. Margie called our phone back and made a donation and said, I'm a big fan of the show and big fan of the station and enjoys my show. So, Margie, thank you. Lynn gave me this notice. I said I'd say hi. So, Margie Cohen, thank you. Right now, we are joined, before we get back to hearing some more stories here from parents and patients, we are joined by Raphaël Melançon. Welcome. Thanks for coming by the way.
Thanks, Aaron.
Nice to see
you here. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, a lot of stuff going on today. I was talking with Jim Meny earlier on, and I'm not going to belabor the point because I had a stupid idea early in the show, and I want to run it by you. And I said in the wake today of finding out that beyond just Dominic LeBlanc, beyond just Janice Charette, all of a sudden, a whole bunch of new Canadians have shown up to help, I guess. Mm-hmm. Dominic LeBlanc is now joined by Marc-Andre Blanchard, who's the PM's kind of point person. Yeah. And Anita Anand is there. Mm-hmm. Mark Wiseman is there.
So many people.
What does this mean?
Looks good. If a lot of people, important people surrounding the Prime Minister are in Washington, it's because we're getting very close to an agreement, and possibly whenever we hear that Mark Carney is traveling to Washington, D.C., that means they're ready to sign something.
Did we hear that?
Well, no, not yet, but let's watch. Let's keep an eye on it. Okay. Whenever Mark Carney is moving towards Washington, D.C., it means we're signing something with Donald Trump.
The stupid idea I brought up, and I mentioned this to you before, is I'm thinking every time Donald Trump talks anything about Canada and says there are many he loves great Canadians, the only one he ever mentions is Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. So my thinking is if we could somehow get Wayne Gretzky to join in the conversation, we'd have a deal.
I think you have the best idea we've ever heard about this.
Thank you very much. Okay, that aside, what's your thinking for how this gets done? So you're saying by virtue of the fact that there are more people down there, we're getting closer to the end?
We're certainly getting close to something that looks like a final agreement. Now, anything could happen at this point. Like we could still have no agreement at all, and still we're 24 hours away for the new deadline that was set by Donald Trump, because he extended the deadline as we know by 3 days, and we're 24 hours away now. So anything can happen within those 24 hours. In my point of view, we are so close to an agreement that I think we're really having an agreement. Now, what does it contain? That's the main question. And are other provinces going to agree to that? That's also the issue, because we know that this afternoon, Christine Fréchette had a long discussion with Mark Carney. She had lots of questions that were unanswered. She said that she got some answers. They need to analyze those answers to decide whether it's a good agreement for Quebec or not. But the main question as well is, are provinces going to collaborate with Ottawa? Because as we know, Ottawa is asking them right now, almost begging them, as Wab Kinew, the Premier of Manitoba, said yesterday, Ottawa is almost begging provinces to bring back American alcohol on the shelves of liquor stores, and it's not clear if all provinces are going to agree to that. New Brunswick said yes, Newfoundland said yes, but other provinces are reluctant to do that, and that might be a point where we could scrap negotiations and a potential agreement with the U.S. if we don't move towards agreeing to what Donald Trump is asking for regarding alcohol.
You're describing a kind of what's in it for me for Canadian premiers before saying yes or no.
Before saying yes or no, and I'm going to tell you this. You know what? I'm part of the people who say we need to fight against the strategies of Donald Trump because he's a bully. But at the same time, if we can concede just the fact that, yes, we are reopening the shelves to American alcohol, if that's going to make him happy and he signs a deal that will avoid our Canadian businesses major tariffs that could, greatly affect our economy, it's a very small concession. And you know what? Let's reopen the door to having American alcohol on our shelves. And on the other side, as Wab Kinew suggested, just tell people not to buy it.
Or don't tell people anything. We live in a democracy. You want to buy American alcohol, go ahead and buy it. You don't, you don't. I mean,
I'm not going to buy it for sure.
Well, that's fine.
I'm not going to buy it for sure, but bring it back and let people choose for themselves.
Right, exactly. So we'll see if that, as a concession, I've been saying this now for a couple of weeks. It doesn't seem like a very big one for just the reason
Absolutely.
you outlined.
Yeah.
Just putting it on the shelves doesn't mean people who are now out of the habit of buying it will start buying it again.
But there could be other major concessions that could affect Quebec's economy. Let's think of the dairy industry, for instance, aluminum.
Well, okay, but what do we know, or what do we think we know from what already has been talked about? I heard aluminum, I heard steel, tariffs being cut from 50 to 25%, so that's good for Quebec.
Yeah. Well, better.
I mean, aluminum, right? 25% is still
better than 50 for sure.
Exactly. What about, have we heard anything about supply management other than Donald Trump saying, you know what, it's a great deal for American farmers, which kind of implies he got a lot here from Canada.
Trump declared that there would be zero tariffs anymore for farming products, American farming products, including dairy. That's one of the main things they were targeting on their side. Now, Dominique Leblanc said that supply management is still protected under this agreement. And let's not forget that the House of Commons just a year ago adopted a bill that said specifically that in trade negotiations, Canada will no longer make any concessions regarding supply management. So it would be contradictory and against our own laws for the government to move forward with any agreement that would affect supply management at the moment.
So let's switch to provincial politics for just a second. I don't know if we're that kind of bored about news, but when you hear that, wow, they're revealing the parties, their slogans now. This is like a big news story. So the Liberals, the Conservatives, the PQ have theirs, and apparently the Bloc are good. I forgot, Quebec Solidaire.
Quebec Solidaire is unveiling its slogan tonight. They're having an event.
What's the worst one so far, as far as you're concerned?
They're all bad. You know what? It's hard. It's hard to pick just one. I would say probably the Liberals are the worst ones because you don't know. Let me tell you. Let's do the whole list, okay? So the Parti Québécois yesterday unveiled its slogan. It's le choix de la confiance, which means absolutely nothing.
Right.
Choosing trust or choosing confidence. Trust about what? Trust that we're not going to have a referendum within the 3 first years of the mandate.
Couldn't be more vague, as they say. Okay.
Couldn't be. They're all very vague, very void, I would say. The Conservatives, it's oser pour vrai, so real audacity or like daring for real, oser pour vrai. And it's in the choice of words that we've heard a lot. In 2018, when François Legault first ran and won a majority government, remember he was talking a lot about ambition, about courage. Now we're about audacity with the Conservatives. So is it really going to make a difference in the minds of people? Okay. And then the worst ones, the Liberals. So the Liberals, it's rassembler, réparer, bâtir. 3 words. So unite, repair, and build. I mean, is this a construction company or a political party?
Okay, so you're not impressed with any of
Not impressed at all.
Okay.
Not impressed at all. Okay. And I mean, in the end, it's just something you put on signs and on your communication tools. But is it really going to make a difference? Is somebody going to go to the polls on election day and say, oh, because of that slogan, I'm going to vote for that party?
Although, if I ask you if you can remember back to a great political slogan, could you even think of one off the top of your head?
I would say the Liberals under Jean Charest, when he said, nous sommes prêts. So in 2003, following many years of a PQ government, Charest came up with a very strong team, and their slogan was "Nous sommes prêts," meaning we're ready, we're ready to govern. And I think it stayed in the minds of a lot of people, and still today we're talking about it. Still.
You know which one I remember? Valérie Plante. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, l'homme de la situation. But that was not her slogan, her campaign slogan. That was her pre-campaign slogan.
Oh, her pre-campaign.
I don't even remember what her campaign slogan was, but of course it was to get her to be known by the population. It hit really, the minds of the population. She had just one sign by the Jacques-Cartier Bridge with that slogan, and in the end, it's 10 years now, and we're still talking about it.
Well, we will have to wait and see what's going on with Quebec Solidaire. I can hardly wait to find out what their slogan is.
So excited about it.
But there you go. I would ask you just one last question with respect to Christine Frechette saying, you know what, even in the discussions with the feds, there's not enough there yet for her to say, yes, I'm on board, right?
Yeah, that's it. So she got answers. What she says is they need to analyze those answers to determine whether it's a good argument, a good agreement for Quebec or not. That means to me that it might be hitting some industries. And, you know, it's a tough call also for her because we're at the beginning of a crucial campaign for her party, so it could be highly detrimental for her to say she's supporting an agreement that will affect some regions of the province where she could lose some seats.
Sure. By the way, you want to mention Simon-Jean Barrette. What's the news on that?
Simon-Jean Barrette, not sure he's running anymore. So we're a minute to midnight. And yesterday, the Transport Minister, Benoit Charette, announced that he was not running for re-election. And then we hear today strong rumors saying that Simon-Jean Barrette, one of the tenors of that party, might not be running. And even Christine Fréchette said today, answering questions to the media, she said today that there are ongoing discussions with Jean Barrette. So it's shedding doubt as to, when you're certain that somebody is on board and with you, you say, no, there's no doubt in my mind and he's running with us. Now she's saying we are having ongoing discussions at the moment. So to me, it's not clear Jean Barrette will be on the starting blocks.
Okay. Raphaël Melançon, Raph, thank you so much.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back.
2010s, the decade.
To the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd,
and more. All your decade-defining favorites, all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.